All right, we are back on the Andre Duke Show. How is everybody doing on this fine Friday night? It is Friday night, February 13th. Friday the 13th. So, for all the folks that are out there superstitious, so there is that. Gonna do an impromptu call-in show, talk a couple of topics, some of the things that have been going on in college football. It is the slow time right before fall gets ready to kick off. I think it's going to be an interesting off season, a myriad of topics. Appreciate everybody who tunes in, especially if you listen to this on, the replay. Also, just wanted to point it out. Phone line is open. Number to call 260-255-4069. Talking some college football, talking some college hoops as well. Whatever you guys really want to talk about. Phone line's open. I will put that banner up. Bang. So if you call right now, it's a free shot. So there is that. Start this off. Also, college baseball open today. Currently got the Ole Miss Rebels on as well. So there's kind of that. Some of the stuff that we got going this off season. I know it's going to be kind of a slow mover, to be honest. That's kind of what we got going, but so yeah, there's that. What else am I looking for? We'll get it kicked off. Jerome Tang, little college hoops here. Kansas State's basketball coach, after the other night, they fell to 10-14. A lot of people, as I'm watching it at Ole Miss, Swayze is clearing out, but the best thing is that he came out and had some comments. Jerome Tang said, this was embarrassing. These dudes don't deserve to wear the uniform. There will be very few of them in it. There'll be very few of them in it next year. It's just ridiculous. We have practice at 6 a.m. I'm pissed. This is yeah. That is Jerome Tang's comments with Kansas State. Very frustrating year over there. I think they had high expectations for what they had going. I don't necessarily disagree with that. So we'll see. Also, there is there was some stuff floating out there, some pictures on the internet of Kansas State students wearing bags on their heads. So I will say that is not a good look. Just definitely not looking good for what they got going over there. Really tough stuff, to be honest. I look at it as, it's very interesting on this NIL, how the portal and all of that stuff works. I think I'm not going to say it's irrelevant, but what I am going to say is that for what people are wanting, it's tough. For coaches now, it's very hard to build a team, have cohesion, whatever caveat you want to put on it. It just makes it tougher and tougher each and every year for the coaches trying to build a cohesive unit. I mean, the students are voicing their displeasure. So no real shock there. Also, the phone line is open. Number to call, 260-255-4069 is the number to call. Appreciate everybody tuning in. So that's kind of something that I seen out there with Kansas State. Also, I've seen a list of coaches with the most active wins. Very interesting list, to say the least. Kirk Ferentz leads the way, 213 wins, been at Iowa forever. Dabo Swinney, 187 wins. A lot of speculation going on down there at Clemson. Kyle Whittingham, 177 wins. Bronco Mendenhall, 146. Rich Rodriguez comes in at 140 wins. With all of his stops, Bronco Mendenhall, the head coach at Utah State, was at BYU, won 99 games at BYU, Virginia, and New Mexico. He's at Utah State now. Rich Rod back at West Virginia, as most people know. Troy Calhoun at Air Force, 139 wins. That's kind of impressive, being at a service academy with all their various regulations that they have. Brett Bielema with 134 wins. James Franklin, I guess looking at it retrospectively, he did win a lot of games at Penn State. He won 104 at Penn State, 24 at Vandy, for a total of 128. He is the head ball coach at Virginia Tech. So you have that. Ken Niamanalolo, 119 wins, and then Dave Doran rounds out that list. I think it's the top 10. Also, all kinds of college baseball on. I know some of the people that have their basketball team. I know Ole Miss being one. A couple other schools turning their attention to baseball. So we'll have some college baseball stuff on here to see what's going on around the league. So Ole Miss currently up 11-3 on Nevada. So there is that. And then also, this got a lot of traction from the Trinidad Chambliss hearing with respects to Joe Judge, Ole Miss's one of Ole Miss's assistant coaches, former NFL head coach. I believe he was the coach of the Giants. College football transfer portal put this out. It says, new Ole Miss coach Joe Judge tells pregnant partners of players during the season that the father has to play good football. And I'm surprised that there's not more of a major outrage about this, but he says he needs to be in another room detached so he ain't waking up for midnight feedings. Yeah, the Joe Judge, that's a very, very interesting comment. I'm not shocked by any of that, to be honest. Joe is very, 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 very interesting, to say the least. So there's that. Also, if you want to do us the biggest favor and hit that like and subscribe button, we ain't really got nothing going on. We're just hanging out tonight. Be with you Friday night and probably be with you Saturday night. So Rebels win, Ole Miss wins. Catch up on another what we got for another what is that? Oh, I'm just looking at the old tube here. So also Florida State makes the news because Mike Norvell says that he's put his head down this offseason and has done nothing but worked. So I guess we'll see how that whole thing shakes out. Look, here's the deal when it comes to Florida State. As I'm looking at the Florida State stuff, he's got to win. There's nothing. There's no way of sugarcoating it. There's no way of dancing around the topic. Mike Norvell's got to win this year at Florida State. I know that some folks are like, oh, that's the obvious, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know. I mean, we took a temperature on their financial report the other night. It was they're over $400 million in debt, but I don't know if that's from their stadium remodel. But that's just kind of where I'm looking at it. As we're on the topic of Norvell, I guess we'll pull up the Florida State schedule and we'll look at it. I think it's an interesting deal. They open with New Mexico State. And even though these are kind of out of order, but they got Alabama early in the season. They have Clemson at the end of the year. They play Florida this year, but through the bare bones of the schedule, New Mexico State, SMU, Central Arkansas, Virginia, Louisville, Miami, Boston College, Pitt, and NC State. So I think for Mike Norvell, he's got to build and do it quick. He's on the, in my opinion, I think the pilot light is lit on his hot seat. And I guess he's going to call plays this year, so we'll see what it turns into, but I think it's going to be very interesting, to say the least, what goes on down there in Seminole country. So that's what it's looking like for Norvell. Florida State also got the multi-box on. We got Texas taking on UC Davis, Texas A&M taking on Tennessee Tech. And then we got Miami taking on Lehigh, and Florida down right now to UAB. All kinds of college baseball. Like I said, it opened today. I'm excited to be doing content this spring. Got the College World Series, going to have March Madness. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff for that. But also, we got that going on. And there's all kinds of stuff. With that, I was getting a phone call there. Sorry about that, on my personal phone. But that's what we got going on. So, next topic du jour. Oh, Texas just goes yard. Oh, sorry about this, everybody. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. I know this is just riveting podcasting. Also, in other news, Trinidad Chambliss gets deemed eligible. I think there's no shock at all to that. I don't know if anybody was, expecting any other different result. I know they tried to compare it to the Charles Bediako thing, and I think that's not even the same thing. Bediako he's a former pro that was in the NBA. I think the Bediako thing is I just don't think it's the same thing. Trinidad Chambliss was injured with the whole tonsil deal, did not play at all. It's no different than the kid that went to Montana for his 9th year. That kid had like 3 season-ending surgeries. So I guess that's one way to look at it, but I don't know. But what I do know is Trinidad Chambliss has been deemed eligible, and that's just the way it is. I know some people don't like it. I think the LSU people are a little upset, but they'll get it. They got that. They got that going, so that's kind of that. Just checking in some of the scores. Texas is up 3-1. Miami's up kind of big on Lehigh. They're up by 5 runs, so there's kind of that. Also, in other news, SMU is moving its home games with Oklahoma and LSU to Cowboy Stadium. I think that's kind of a little odd. I don't know why you wouldn't want to have those games at home as far as stadium atmosphere. Oh, did I miss one? Hold on, I'll call this person back. See if they answer. Hello? Hold on. Let me see here. See if I can get this to work.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, who do we have here?
Yo, the DeMarc.
Who is this?
DeMarcus.
DeMarcus, what's up, man?
Hey, man, what up? Hey, I was gonna ask your opinion. What's your opinion on Michigan State? You think they're gonna win?
Michigan State to me is going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting season. I think that Pat Fitzgerald taking over the program the first year. I think he's going to have to weed out some of the folks that are in the building that were maybe not there for the right reasons. I think if I was an expectation for Michigan State, I think year one, the product has to look better than what it has in the past.
Right.
Not to pile on Jonathan Smith, I believe his name was the head coach. I'm not going to say that he wasn't a fit. I think that he didn't cultivate the fundraising like some of the other programs in the Big Ten got. Like Ohio State has a ton of money behind their roster. You know, Michigan right next door, a ton of money into their roster. I don't think he won the press conference and got people fired up about Michigan State to invest heavily into the program. Now, I think Pat Fitzgerald does that. I think Pat Fitzgerald can, if he goes out there and shows a little proof of concept, I think that he can get some money into the program, and I think it would help a ton, because right now it's basically in college athletics, it's basically an arms race. I don't think that it's any secret to the teams that are winning at the highest level. They have a ton of money behind their roster. I mean, Indiana went 2 feet in, and you've seen what that did. And everybody can complain about, they said their roster's old, this, that, and the fifth. Well, those kids were just in the portal just like everybody else. You had an opportunity to recruit them. If you go back and revisionist history, nobody thought that the kids that Indiana took at the portal, they ranked them last in the Big Ten as far as with recruiting and with the transfer portal. They'll never do that again.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think I got something else we can agree on. Bro, I've been watching you for a hot minute. I subscribed early on, kind of when you were 100 subscribers.
Oh,
But I do
appreciate it.
agree on your Michigan State stance. But currently, right now,
Go ahead.
hey, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, man. Yeah, currently, right now, I think the phone being choppy. I'm in the bathtub right now.
Oh, lost him. I'll call him back. Let's see if I can get him back. See if I can get him back here. That's what happens sometimes. See if I can get him back on the show. Hello? Can you hear me? Well, that happens sometimes, but maybe he'll call back in once he gets his phone figured out. It happens. But yeah, I agree with what he was saying about Michigan State. I just think their product has to look better as far as aesthetically. I think that Pat Fitzgerald's taking on something that's kind of, they've been down ever since D'Antonio left. I think that Mark D'Antonio did a hell of a job for what he had. Okay, let's see here. Trying to call back in.
Hey, hello?
Yeah, you got me, man?
You know what just happened? I was in the bathroom. I wasn't, using the bathroom, but I dropped my fucking phone. Oh, sorry. I dropped my phone in the bathtub.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I had to go put it in some rice real quick. But yeah. So basically, about Michigan State is, I'm in my room right now, stroking my shit, dog.
Yep. That's how you get on the band list. How do I do that? Awesome. That is awesome. Always every now and then you get a prank call. So that's how you get on the block list. Unbelievable. So I guess we'll see how that shakes out. I'm sure YouTube ain't gonna like that one. But yeah, so anyway, back to it. Back to where I was at. The Big 12 is going to use the ABS glass court for their conference championship game. I find that interesting, to say the least. Don't know how exactly that's going to shake out, but it's going to be cool. It's going to get the people talking, and I'm sure they're going to have a cool design and all that good stuff. So there's a little of that. As we turn back towards college football, we'll have some other stuff going on. What is this? I guess I'll call this person back and see what they want. See what's going on. See if they answer. Oh. No, that's not what I want. See what we end up with. See if this is a better call than the last one. That's a no answer. See what this 313 number is. But yeah, the toughest schedules. Guess not. I guess we'll see if we're on a wild goose chase. Guess so. But anyway, nothing but fun times. Nothing but fun times. We got toughest schedules, I guess, are Ohio State leads the way. I find that interesting. Ohio State I think I need to update my so it'll at least ring. For some reason it does that every now and then. Google Voice makes it upload or update it. So, but Ohio State, Arkansas, Texas. I find that interesting to say the least. Those are the top three hardest schedules. It's going to be an uphill battle, in my opinion, for Ryan Silverfield at Arkansas. I'll give one more call back, but I think I kind of know what this is. We'll see here, but no answer. So, but we'll keep it moving. That's what we have tonight. Ain't nothing like a good old prank call. That's always fun times to derail the show. So that's what I'm looking at. So there's that. As I'm looking at it, yeah, at least it's not ringing. There's that. Auburn comes in number 5 on this list. Michigan, Ole Miss, Florida, LSU, Kentucky. I think that Ohio State having a tough schedule. I think Ole Miss. I look at that. I look at Ole Miss's schedule. I find that interesting, to say the least. It says I got people calling, but every time I call them back, they don't answer. and I'm hoping it's.
Hello.
Is this the same guy?
Hello.
Yeah. What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to call in.
Oh, what you got, man?
Oh, I want to talk about like what you think with Alabama and all that.
Oh,
How they gonna do?
Alabama. Sorry, I got a couple of prank calls tonight, so.
Yeah, like when I was trying to call, I called in multiple times, and when I was calling, some reason it wasn't coming through properly. I don't understand. I would just get the notification of a missed call.
Yeah, I just updated my Google Voice, but I think it has somebody's playing games and trying to call at the moment. But yeah, Alabama, that's going to be an interesting case study this year in my opinion. I think it's going to come down to the quarterback battle. It's going to be Austin Mack versus Keelan Russell. If I was a betting man, I think Austin Mack probably wins the job. And it'll be.
What about the injuries? You think the injuries is going to affect them any?
Yeah. Depending on how healthy they are coming out of spring and fall camp, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that them replacing Proctor at left tackle, I think there's going to be a lot of moving parts on the offensive line, and I think that DeBoer's got to make a commitment to running the football because I think that killed them down the stretch in critical games.
Yeah. What you thinking on, like, I don't know, like Georgia? You know, they didn't have too good a season this year.
Well,
I mean, some people might call it a good season. I beg to differ, but you know.
Well, I think one of the things that when it comes to the Georgia stuff, their expectation is up there right there with Alabama. It's national championship or the season was a loss. Now, in my opinion, with everything that's going on with all the driving stuff and all the off the field stuff, a lot of people wanted to talk about that, but at the end of the day, Kirby recruits his own problems. And I'm not 100% sure what the Clark County Sheriff has against the Georgia football program, but I would think that they've got to get something worked out. I mean, if Kirby's got to get a bus and take them all home after practice every day, he's got to do something because they can't continue to have the off the field issues that turn into bigger distractions. It's been the last 3 years that they haven't won something, and I think people are getting restless in Georgia, but I mean, they're back-to-back SEC champions. I think that something with the bye games in the playoff is affecting them. And
why do you think that is?
I don't know if it's something in their preparation or it's something. There's something that's amiss there because other programs that ended up with byes, they're 1-7 in the college football playoff. Indiana's the only team with a bye to ever win anything.
Right.
So I think that's 2 years in a row that they that you've had Georgia get a bye and that they have and they've lost. So I think that they kind of ran into a buzzsaw against Notre Dame. They were favorites to win that game, and then they already beat Ole Miss. And the crazy thing with the Ole Miss game is people forget that Ole Miss in the start of the fourth quarter, they were up by 9 points in the fourth quarter, and Kiffin kind of turtled. And then Pete Golding goes out there. Trinidad Chambliss plays an unbelievable game and wins the game. I think throughout the college football playoff, the Ole Miss Georgia game was the best game of the playoff, in my opinion.
I got you. I don't know. Something going on with your camera. It's shaking bad.
Oh, it is.
I don't know. It's like the chair, everything jiggling. It's giving me motion sickness.
Oh.
I'm on the edge. Yeah, you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it should. Let me see here.
I don't know. It's shaking something awful. It's.
That
I don't know. It's like the chair shaking, the microphone, everything's shaking. I don't know what it is. It's kind of giving me motion sickness. I'm kind of nauseated now. I don't know. I had to look away. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm on the edge of kind of losing it.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about that.
But yeah, that correct it?
Yeah, it's kind of way behind. So.
Oh yeah. There's a 15-second delay.
Oh yeah, I get that. You need that. It seems to done smoothed out some. Yeah, it was shaking bad.
No, gotcha. So
yeah, so you think the injuries is going to affect Georgia any?
Well, I think Georgia's big thing is they got to get out of fall camp healthy. They got to get out of camp healthy. They got to get out of the spring healthy. I guess the bigger question is, does Gunnar Stockton for Georgia take the next step into being an elite SEC quarterback? I think is the next question. Because if he can do that, I think that Georgia, they got a good a shot as anybody. Now, on the Alabama side of things, because of how last season ended, they didn't play the best SEC championship game and they didn't play the best playoff game. So it's going to be the worst last thing that happened in everybody's mind when it comes to the voting in the polls and people's opinions on Alabama. I think it's more fascinating to me about what's going on down there on the plains with Alex Golesh and Auburn, that they're going to spend $30 million on their roster and there's no guarantee that they'll be any good.
Whoa, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. So
what do you think about Indiana? You think Indiana going to do good again this year?
My thing with Indiana is there's no reason to doubt them. Now in the polls and stuff, I think people won't give them the benefit of the doubt. They'll be talking about the because there's a new starting quarterback, but Josh Hoover, I believe, almost threw for 4,000 yards at TCU. So I don't get it. And then Indiana gets back Tino Sinceri that went out to UCLA, and obviously it didn't work out there. He's back with Cignetti at Indiana. So if you look at the quarterbacks that Indiana's had, they had Curtis Rourke threw for over 4,000 yards, or I believe it was over 3,500 yards. Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman, and they've had a new starting quarterback. It's going to be 3 starting quarterbacks at Indiana, and it doesn't seem like they are player dependent. It's more system dependent on what they've got going.
I got you. You think the injuries that affect them?
At the moment, I don't think that before spring ball and fall camp get done, you got to, football is it's a war of attrition. And typically the teams that can stay healthy down the stretch, especially offensive and defensive linemen, I think that's really critical when you don't have, let's say Josh Hoover get hurt or something of that sort. So I think health it plays a factor with every team going forward. I'm just curious.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm just curious on what they on how teams prepare, what's going to happen with the potential playoff expansion, which I think that's going to get real interesting to say the least. As I was looking at it, the the Big Ten is proposing to get rid of the conference championship games and go to a 24-team playoff. This week it was announced there's a couple of bowl games folding up. So
Hold on, son.
I think that.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, all right. I think that that's kind of what you're looking at to see how the playoff picture shapes up and what they do with the conference championship games. So there's kind of that.
What we're looking like? Wasn't it Oregon? Oregon was real good this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then they ran into a buzzsaw. They ran into Indiana at the Peach Bowl, and it didn't work out. They ended up getting blown out, and they got Dante Moore back. Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola is going to be the backup there, which I find that bizarre. I think he needed to get out of Nebraska. I think the former Nebraska athletic director, he went out and wrote a book. I'm trying to pull up his name. What was his name? Bill Moons. I thought that was interesting. His take on Nebraska. Ross Dillinger wrote a piece about it. Him and Andy Staples did a podcast about it, and basically he talked about Bill Moons, the former AD, kind of basically said that Nebraska regrets going to the Big Ten because they've not been competitive. He also talked about Scott Frost. Scott Frost, he did not want to hire him at the time. Hindsight's 2020. In the book, he writes, allegedly they had to send Scott Frost to the Betty Ford clinic to see if he was an alcoholic. I necessarily don't think it works like that, but I think Nebraska had a lot of factors surrounding on why they haven't been successful.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, we sitting here watching your show. We like the show. We watching it on TV. Me and my little son Charlie. Charlie, you want to say hello to the man on the TV? Oh.
All right. Well,
he said hi to you, Charlie.
Yep. Hello, Charlie. I guess you got anything else, and I'll throw you back.
Well, like, who do you think this year is going to be like your number one guy?
Oh, as far as team?
Yeah, like who you think is going to be like, put it over the top and is going to, possibly, right, come out on number one this year?
Are you talking NFL draft or college football?
We're talking college football.
The guy that I think will probably be the number one, that'll win the Heisman, basically. I think because he'll have the numbers, it's either going to be Julian Sayin at Ohio State or possibly Josh Hoover, because I think Indiana's going to throw the ball a ton.
Oh, that sounds good. My little boy wants to say bye to you, and we'll hang up and watch the rest of your show. But we thank you what you do. You want to say bye, Charlie?
Okay, bye.
All right.
We'll see you.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. All right. Appreciate him calling in. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of moving parts. Got to check that out. So, yeah, I guess we'll get close to wrapping it up, and I'll throw it on there with the college football, the model on what they're proposing. The Big Ten, this is what ESPN put out. The Big Ten eyes a 2014 playoff, no league championship games. It would be the Big Ten is circulating blah, 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 internal document that 2014 playoff would look like, including the elimination of conference championship games, a 23-1 selection model, an additional week of games of on-campus games. I think that is good. I don't know how some people could not get behind more on-campus games. I think that with the playoff extended, I think your quarterfinal, your semifinal games, because there's the 4 major bowls. You have the Peach, Sugar, Rose, and Fiesta. I think those bowls will stay intact, kind of in my opinion. So I think that what we're seeing here is going to be a interesting endeavor. I guess I'll call this person back and then we will jump on out of here.
Well,
Hello.
hi, how's it going?
Don't know who that is, but oh, here we go. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Duke.
What's going on,
I
man?
picked up your show. I picked up your show just in time to hear little Charlie say goodbye.
Yeah. I've had some
Pretty cute.
yeah, I've had some crank calls tonight, so
Oh,
yeah.
well, I'm not a crank, and I don't think that guy was.
Yeah,
Too
so
cute to be a crank, that little Charlie.
yeah, that was good. I guess real quick before I wrap this up, I'm getting ready to jettison into the night, Joe.
Yeah, you were saying something about the format. Are they going to have some kind of a format change in the CFP?
Yeah, there's a internal document that ESPN has got their hands on. They floated it out there. It's on the internet. It's a 23-1 model selection. Basically it'll be
Geez.
I find it interesting, to say the least.
Well, SEC and ESPN are one and the same, so any kind of leak is not really a leak. They're the same thing.
Well, this I
Right?
guess is coming from the Big Ten. It would be the first 2 rounds will be on-campus games with the model, the 2014 model. You would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 SEC schools in this year. You would get 1, 2, 3 ACC schools, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Big 12 schools. It would basically be Notre Dame would have been 11th in this model, and the Big Ten would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So basically 7, 4,
there just
3.
aren't 7 good. To me, there just aren't 7 good teams in any conference. So that's too many teams.
I think so, but I'll read the seeding off to you. I got time here real quick. Indiana, obviously number 1. They would have a bye into the second round. Oklahoma would have had a bye. The top 8 teams would get a bye.
Oh my gosh.
And then
Oklahoma, a bye. They stunk. They had a good defense.
And probably one of the worst teams that would be in the CFP. They had Tulane and JMU in there. They had BYU in Houston, Texas, Alabama, Arizona, USC. On the other side of the bracket, it was the teams with byes: Ohio State, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia, which I don't necessarily disagree with that. Then they had
those are okay if you have to give byes.
Utah, Michigan, Miami, Iowa, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, Virginia. So that's going to be an interesting turn of events, to say the least, if they decide to go with this model.
Yeah. Well, those 2, what were they, FCS schools that got in, or
the 2 group of 5, JMU and
yeah.
Tulane.
See, that's why it's just too many. 24 is just too many. I mean, when you're allowing that, and even with 12 they allowed it, so that was ridiculous.
Well,
So
12
is at the absolute most. What they should do is cut it down to 8.
Yeah, but if you put 8,
there's just those teams don't deserve it. If you have 7 teams from the Big Ten, name them. Who are they?
Well,
it's a joke.
It's basically the big brands. I get what they're doing. It's because they want to create an inventory of games that they can sell for TV money. That's
right.
That's
right. That's not for the betterment of the sport. That's greed and having the power to be greedy.
Oh, I totally agree with you. But here's my thing. Because there's a lot of complaining about the NIL. At the end of the day, Joe, they can't come out and say it's not about the money, but they want to expand the playoffs to make more money.
And then they're spending millions on kids for the NIL.
Yeah, and the big thing is that they thought that they were bringing in this Deloitte thing, that it was going to stem some of the tide. I think it made it worse because it's selective enforcement, just, with anything the NCAA ever does. I go back to the Jeremy Pruitt stuff at Tennessee when that whole thing fell apart. Tennessee didn't want to pay him, and they were on board with everything that was going on, the bags of cash. And I think that people are naive. They want to have their head buried in the sand, that they didn't think that these kids were getting something under the table. Now that it's all being done in the light, it's an issue all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yep.
I get it. They don't think that they should be being paid millions of dollars. Whether people agree or disagree with it, this is what the system is. All the commissioners.
Well, before they allowed to let it happen, Duke, they should have had ceilings in place for, maybe based on time spent as a starter, number of plays per position on average. Like if you're on offensive line and you're, getting the most plays of anybody, then you should be the ceiling. Like if it's an offensive line tackle that is playing the most plays, you're getting more of a risk for injury.
Right.
Like Notre Dame had those 2 backs, and they kept them all both safe, and they were probably very highly compensated.
Right.
And they didn't get the lion's share of plays like their offensive line did.
Right.
So I mean, I think you should have some kind of parameters in place before you opened it up to NIL. Make some ground rules of what that'll actually mean in terms of each position group and number of plays played, and I don't know. I can't say it just off the top of my head what it should be, but you have to come up with, I think, something to have controlled it, and you didn't. And so now it's a free-for-all. And it's like, now you're going to complain because you didn't do anything about it. You just let it happen.
So
don't complain.
Okay, Joe, I'm not saying that I disagree with you. One of the big things that I have that holds this whole thing up, because when we got into it, whenever Deion Sanders leaked that what it was going to be to find the guys, here's my issue with it. If we're going to add all of this money into it and we're going to, treat it like professional sports, and you want to find these guys, then it
is professional now.
It has to be collectively bargained. These universities do not want to get into trying to collectively bargain, because what happens in the event in college football, if you have a labor strike, what are you going to do? The universities are screwed. They're on the hook for the TV partners. It'll torpedo the whole model because you'll have a labor stoppage.
Right.
That's just my opinion. And
that's right.
And somebody that is a union member, strikes are real. You're about to see what it's about to do to Major League Baseball, because they're so far apart in Major League Baseball right now, it's not even funny. I think this is the last year we have Major League Baseball, and that's it for a year.
Wow.
Because the owners want a salary cap with no salary floor. And you have too many of these owners. You have, 7 to 10 owners in Major League Baseball that don't give a damn whether they win or lose. And that's the whole issue. They don't give a damn whether they win or lose. And
that's right.
And you can't
especially the smaller markets.
Oh yeah,
as long as they get a good chunk of the pie, they don't care.
Like Pittsburgh,
yeah.
You're about to see that because
Kansas City.
Yeah. But although Kansas City has won a World Series, but they sold the team off for parts, it just there's no investment there, and it's just like the NBA. What they're heading on a crash course right now because they have a ton of teams. They have a ton of teams that aren't competitive, and I get why the Big Ten wants to extend the college football playoff. I'm tying this all into full circle, is because if you have 24 teams, you have more invested fan bases for a longer period of time. That's why they extended the playoffs in the NFL. That's why they extended the playoffs in every major sport.
I disagree with that because I don't think they care one lick about the fans. I think they see the money. Because of that.
Because what I'm saying is that I'm not saying they necessarily care about the fans. I'm just saying that they will have engagement longer because at a certain point in the season, let's say Notre Dame would have lost another game. What do you think the home attendance would have been when they knew that, they had a shot to make the playoffs, but if they had no shot at all, let's say they were 6-4, that stadium's going to be about half full.
Yeah,
it was pretty evident.
Probably.
It was pretty evident with LSU last year. After they dropped their third game to Texas A&M, people left after the third quarter when they knew it was over.
Well, they were getting drubbed.
And they were getting blown out. But if you look at their attendance, when they played Arkansas at noon the following week after they let Kelly go, that stadium was half full, and it looks bad cosmetically on TV. The same thing with Penn State. Same
thing with Arkansas when Notre Dame went to play them.
Yep.
They were going crazy, those fans, and then by the half they were all
they hit the turnstiles. They hit the turnstiles. So I think that the way the athletics is going in college sports, also, this is just another caveat. The universities that get involved with private equity, I'm telling you now, they are going to regret that.
Oh, yeah.
Tenfold, because you know what private equity doesn't care about? You're about to see at Utah, you're about to get charged for everything. They are going to try to squeeze as much money out of these fan bases because Utah signed a private equity deal, and I hope they understand what comes with that. They're going to be cutting sports left and right, or they're going to try to find a way to get out of it. But I don't know how you can justify taking the capital injections. The investment firm's going to want their money back plus probably 25%. So
not only that, it's no longer a university. It's a semi-pro team.
Yes.
It's not an academic institute if you're doing that. Private equity to enhance your sports program. You're taking the whole thing away from what I grew up with, I'm an old man, but, what I really enjoyed was the regionality of the college football sports, I look forward to seeing Oklahoma and Nebraska and Texas, Oklahoma, and I'm a Notre Dame fan, but it was the regionality of these kids coming up that would go to their home area to play football. And, it was just fun to see the talent from the different areas of the country.
Oh yeah.
Go at it.
And, whenever they made it, national, I think that this plays a big role in this. Because you know what you look forward to at the end of every year? You look forward to the Rose Bowl, the Big Ten champion taking on the Pac-12 champion, the Sugar Bowl, the ACC champion taking on the SEC champion. And
I
now
know.
do I think that the way they used to do the national championship was outdated and antiquated? Yes. I think the college football playoff offers a better model. It's just, can you capture it in the right realm? I think that they went too hastily from 4 to 12. They added 8 extra teams. If it was me, I would have rolled out an 8-team model because it would have stemmed the tide of
Sure.
the Florida State thing. Because I believe that year Florida State got robbed. Mike Norvell got robbed.
Yep.
They went undefeated. They did everything they were supposed to, and they still didn't get in. So at what point do you have to scrap the whole model? But I can tell you, if they collectively bargain it and they have one work stoppage in one of the 2 revenue sports, which is basketball or football, if they have a total complete blackout work stoppage, it'll kill it.
Well, not as much basketball because they can, a week won't mean much because you could make it up because it's not as physically demanding sport. So, but football, I mean, you need a week off or 2-week stoppage is huge, and you can't make it up. You can't go 2 games within a week. Typically, sometimes in the NFL, they moved games like all over the place now, Thursday night and Sunday and Monday, but typically they scheduled it so that those teams that went on that Thursday night would have the next week, be a Sunday kind of thing.
Right.
But
I guess,
but I don't think you can just do that with college football.
No. And
in general.
also, I think one of the other issues is when it comes to this the whole big thing, the whole big picture, they didn't fix the calendar. They made it worse. The national championship is getting played on the 3rd Monday of January, it may be the 4th Monday, but it's going to be January 25th. There's going to be 14 days in between the semifinal games and the national championship. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why they just refuse to move the schedule up 3 weeks, move it up 3 weeks, and keep your stupid conference championship games if you want them.
Well, let me ask you this, Duke. Would they wind up being 16 teams with 24 teams getting in? Would it still be a 16-game season at the most, the ceiling? Or would it be more?
It depends on if they would scrap the conference championships. That's the whole factor. If they scrap the conference championship games, if you did not get a bye, you'd have to win 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd have to win 5 games with a 12-game schedule. If you didn't get a bye, you would end up, if you had a bye, it would still be a 16-game schedule. But
because to me, 16 should be. These are still pretty young kids. Their bodies haven't fully developed yet, So when you play a long season like that in a physical sport like that, you're just asking for, who's going to be left to play in the championship?
And
whipped.
And you look at it, the whole season, camp starts in July. So you got July, August, September, October, November, December, January. The season's 7 months if you make it all the way.
Yeah.
And then
that's where I was looking at, because I'm thinking the Notre Dame situation when they played Ohio State for the championship, 4 of their starters on defense didn't play. They were hurt.
Right.
And that's, that's a long season to try and stay healthy through to give your best showing.
And I think, I think also.
But they had Ben Morrison out. They had Botello out. They had Traore out. And they had Mills out, the Super Bowl guy. I mean, they were supposed to play Ohio State, with 4 of their starters out. That's crazy.
Right.
So, that's where you have to look at it too. It's just these number of games that, if they ever increase it to the 24 teams, it'll just be even worse on these players. Then they need to have collective bargaining because, you're really sticking your neck out and your NFL career didn't even start yet.
Yeah, that's kind of my sentiment on it, but we ran a little over. Anything else, Joe, before I close up shop for the night?
No, close it up and Sorry, I just I got there late, but yeah, we'll talk again.
Yeah, we'll be on tomorrow. There's all kinds of college baseball on, so I'll be on tomorrow, probably about the same time, about 8:00.
Let me ask you this: Are you watching any Olympics?
I'm waiting on hockey.
Yeah.
Waiting on hockey.
Oh man, I'm loving the women's league. I was telling somebody that had a show to watch these two players for Notre Dame, and sure enough, that girl Murphy, I said she's a little spitfire. She's been killing it, this girl Murphy. And then there's another girl, Joy Dunn from Ohio State, and she's like this big girl that's just starting a career in hockey. Those are the two I would tell you to watch on the women's side.
All right, I'll give it a watch, Joe.
Yeah, because they whipped Canada 5-0.
Yeah,
The women in the U.S. and they haven't won that, since a long time ago, at least 10 years, and maybe once before that was like 1992 or something.
Gotcha.
So it's a pretty good showing. You got to watch them. And
All
then
right.
the men's was fun too to watch.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I guess we'll roll it up. I'll be on. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah.
I'll be on.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I'm enjoying the watch. I'm even enjoying these ice dancers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're really something unbelievable. Like to do those kind of things they do on skates is pretty amazing.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that was it. I'll talk to you again.
All right, Joe. You have a good evening. We'll be back on tomorrow about 8:00 my time. So.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one, Joe.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That was Joe, longtime listener of the podcast. Appreciate everybody who's tuned in tonight. Sorry, apologize for the crank calls that we got. Had some good people call in, and we'll be back tomorrow, probably about 8:00. If you do us the biggest favor, if it's your first time here, hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate everybody who tunes in and interacts with the show, and we'll be back tomorrow, probably with the call-in show. We'll see how well it works out. So there's that. And everybody have a good night. If I don't see you on Saturday, have a great weekend, everybody.